Hello everyone and welcome back to the Call of Duty World at War Custom Zombie Mapping Tutorial Series. Today we are going to be covering a lot of stuff. We are going to be getting our map ready for compiling for distribution and stuff like that. So we are going to be adding finishing touches such as Pathnodes, and we are going to be doing some scripting, not too much, just a little bit, just for the zones. We are going to fix something with the zones because I forgot something, I'm sorry. We are going to be adding a light grid volume to fix texturing. We are going to be adding a playable area so the player can pick up power-ups and stuff like that. So this video might be a little long, but I do recommend that you watch this video all the way through because it is going to be important. Okay, everything in this video is going to be important. So first we're going to fix a mistake that I made. So we're going to go into the trigger zone. Remember the trigger zone we have for the debris? Now remember we tested, it worked fine, but we did forget something for zoning. The only thing we need to add, script_flag, and I'm going to set this to zone 2 init. Okay, that's what I'm going to set it to. This is another naming convention. You can set it to anything you want. The typical one to use is the zone name underscore init for the adjacent zone. So what I mean, so we have the script flag KVP, okay? And if you guys remember, we called this zone over here zone 2. So, and this trigger is leading into zone 2. So what we're basically doing is setting the flag to the zone 2 and then underscore init. Okay, that's going to be for the code. Okay, that's what that's for. Okay, you probably won't see a link or anything between the trigger zone and the next zone. Okay, that's for the code. Okay, so that's one KVP that I missed. I'm sorry about that. And now that we put that in, we can go ahead and get started. So since we left off with zoning, I'm going to start with that. So we're going to start off with the scripting. This beautiful this text editor is sexy. I love this text editor. It's called Sublime Text. You guys can go download it if you want. But you can use any text editor you guys want. Okay, I just thought I'd address that I'm using Sublime, but you don't have to use this. You can use Notepad if you really wanted to. Okay, so first what we're going to do is open up our file explorer and go to the Call of Duty World at War root, wherever that is for you. And you're going to go to Raw, and you're going to go to Maps, and you're going to scroll down until you find Nazi Zombie, your map name. Okay, in my case, Nazi Zombie YT. So just scroll down until you find that here. You're going to copy the GSC file, okay? Don't copy the rad trans or the CSV. We're going to copy the GSC file, okay? So just go ahead and copy that. Go back to your root folder, go to mods, and then find your map name's mod in here. In my case, Nazi Zombie YT, the same thing. Go to maps, and this is where you're going to paste it, okay? Mine is already in there, so I'm not going to paste it. So you should have your mapname.gsc, zombie mode, and possibly loadout. I think you have loadout in there. I can't remember if you do or not. If you don't and your map still works, that's fine, as long as your map works, okay? But for sure, you're going to have zombie mode in YT. And for sure, you're probably not going to have zombie mode in modifiers. Modifiers for sure, because that's my own custom file. And perks, because I copied that over, and that's just something I was working with earlier, okay? So the two files we're going to worry about is zombie mode and your map name. So just go ahead and open those in your text editor preference. Now I'm going to set the syntax to C++. Now I am going to bring you guys a series later on CoD 5 scripting, okay, so you guys can do modding and do some cool scripting. We're going to be doing that later on, but not just yet. Right now we're going to focus on modding. Now for those of you that have done C++ or a little bit of C, you will notice that this looks very similar, and there's a reason for that. Basically all game engines are coded in C++. Because they are object-oriented. C++ is object-oriented, sorry, and it is very close to the metal. So C++ is the most commonly used language for game engines. However, you also need a language for higher level abstraction. And for example, ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, which I did a video on, uses Lua for its questing. So basically, for the surface level code, you want a higher abstraction language, like Python or Lua or something like that, because coding the entire game in C++ will make you drive your head into a wall. It sucks, okay? So Call of Duty actually decided to make their own called GSC. It's not a common one. It's not like Lua or Python. It's its own exclusive to the Call of Duty engine. And it's basically C++, but it is a little bit nicer, okay? You don't have to define data types. It's loosely typed. We don't have to int main. We don't have to worry about returning things. Like in C++, you have to return something unless you specify it as a void function, and the syntax is a little bit. It's a pretty nice little language, to be quite honest. I kind of like it, but that's just to address that issue. We'll talk about that more in the scripting series. So first, we're going to bother with your mapname.gsc, and you're going to scroll down until you find DLC zone init. add adjacent zones. These are the functions we're going to worry about. Now, there is some documentation down here, but I'm going to explain it anyway. So I have 2 zones. So this is perfectly fine. But if you have 3 zones or 4 zones, then paste it and paste it. So basically every line of code for every zone that you have. Okay, and how we're going to do this, oh, I only need 2. The first adjacent zone is going to be your initial zone. So it's called initial zone in the script. Mine was actually called start zone. So I'm just going to change that to start zone. The first argument is going to be the name of the volume that you're specifying. So the first one's going to be your start zone. Okay, that should be your start zone. Now the next one will be the adjacent zone to it. So let me show you guys what I mean in Radiant. So this room right here, this is start zone. Okay, this is where you spawn. This is zone 2. Okay, this is going to be my second zone because there's a debris separating it. So we're going to put this to zone underscore 2. Well, actually, you're going to put it to whatever you named your zone. Remember I said remember the name of your zone? You can go into Radiant and check. But see, my zone name in grid volume is target name zone 2. Okay, so that's what you're going to set as the second argument on the first line. The third argument is going to be what we just set in the fix, okay? So remember in the trigger zone when we added script flag, zone 2 init, I'm just going to copy that so I don't mess it up. And we're going to go back to the code, and we're going to set that as the third parameter. You could use a fourth. We're not going to bother. Okay, we're not going to bother about another adjacent zone. Okay, so we've got the first line down. I'm going to get the second line down. Like I said, you can just repeat this for all the zones that you have. So for my zone 2, I'm going to name it zone 2. So basically, your first argument here will be your second argument in the first one. Now this one, this would be the next one over, except I don't have a next one over. So I'm just going to set this back to start zone. Okay, you know what? Actually, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm just going to set this to enter zone 3. Okay, I'm just going to set it that. It doesn't matter at the moment. We can just set this to, like, I don't know, zone 3. Now, even though we don't have a zone 3, that's not really going to matter, because as long as we have this, we don't have a zone 3, okay? So we don't need to worry about these values. So you're going to need to worry about all the values on the first line, for sure, if you have multiple zones, unless it's a box map. And then the second zone, if you only have 2 zones, then only worry about this. So similarly, if you only have 3 zones, then only worry about the first value. You don't need to worry about the next ones because there isn't another adjacent zone to it. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. Okay, it can be a little bit confusing. It even tripped me up a little bit. Okay, so once you're done with your zoning there, just go into _zombiemode.gsc, our next file. Now this is going to be pretty easy. I'm just going to search for score, and there it is. So it's on line 536 for me. Set zombie var zombie score start. See how it's set to 500,000? You can set that to anything you want, but I'm just going to set it to the customary 500. Now you can edit other things in here if you really wanted to, like you know, the spawn delay, the health increase, the bonuses, so how many points you get per kill, how many points you get per damage shot, etc. You can change these if you really wanted to, but I'm just going to leave them alone. But the one you do want to change is the score start. Okay, this is another interesting. I'm just gonna use it because it's here because I just seen it. The /# symbol basically means developer mode. So if developer mode is set, this code will run. If not, it won't. Okay, it's kind of like a comment, but it's not. It's like an exclusive code. Okay, it's kind of interesting, but like I said, we're gonna get into that more scripting. So just make sure you set the start over to 500 or whatever you want your starting to be. You probably don't want it at 500,000. Sorry. Okay, so now we're going to get to the fun part. Path nodes. These really aren't fun because they pollute your map with garbage, but this garbage is actually required. I've added in some, but I'm going to delete them just to show you guys how to do it. Okay. Just delete those ones. That's just for testing. So all you need to do to add a path node is right click and add a, where is it? I can't find it. Node. Path node. I don't know why it took me so long to find that. Anyways, it's going to add this little green box, okay? Now, I'd recommend setting this above the floor, okay? Even if it's just above the floor, I wouldn't recommend putting it in the floor. I don't know if it would cause problems, but I don't really want to find out. So make sure it's just above the floor. Don't make it stuck in the floor, just in case, you know what I mean? Now, I like to set this every, well, how big is that? 24 units. Now I think they can be 128 units apart, but I just set it this close, so I use every intersection of the red box in my map. Now, important, your path nodes cannot touch. So if we had this, or even if we had this is a problem. We cannot have two path nodes touching, or there will be problems. So just go ahead, make sure they're not touching, but make sure they're not too far apart. Okay, like I said, just make sure it's like every red box apart. So it's not touching, but it's not too far either. That's what I use anyways. Okay, so I'm going to make mine go to the window. Now we don't need to make it go all the way over here. We don't need one over here because the zombies aren't going to be going in over there, sorry. They're going to come up to this window. We have the green boxes leading up to this window. And now you're just going to kind of pollute your map with this. This is going to be time consuming and annoying. But really just keep copying and pasting using the space bar and put them every so units apart. You don't have to use my little convention here, but just put them like so. You don't even have to make them perfectly linear. You can just, as long as they're not touching. But I like to do it for organizational purposes. So I'm just going to pollute my first room. I'll do my second room off video because I don't want to waste too much of your guys' time. Wow. Okay, I'm going to do this a little bit faster after I'm done this little row here. What you can do is, not go the wrong way for one. You can just select a row of them if your room is the same dimension and just copy the row and paste the row. That makes it a little bit faster. So that row is done. We're actually not going to put one there because that's inside Pack-a-Punch. So don't keep it completely square. You know, put them logically. Okay, don't put it inside of a perk machine because the zombies aren't going to be going in there, so there's no point. Now, when you're designing your map, if you want to add anything to your map, these path nodes are annoying as hell. Like, try to work with your floor with these path nodes, and you're not going to be very happy. So what you can do is, I believe it's the F key, yeah, filters. And in a filter, you can set, where is it, path nodes, uncheck it. All of our path nodes have disappeared. Now, they're not gone. We haven't deleted them. We've just filtered them, okay? So if you want to see them again, just hit F and check them back off. So that's the same for if you don't want to see trigger zones. So if you don't want to see trigger zones, then go to triggers, uncheck it. Look, our trigger zone over there is gone, but if we recheck it, it's back. So you can just filter things. That way it makes it easier for your design, okay? Path nodes is done. Now it's trying to add a light grid volume. Now, why we need to add this? Let's say we didn't have this light here. Okay, light kind of fixes it, but in areas of no light, textures will be messed up. You could get a rainbow kind of texture, which doesn't look very good, or you can get a pure black texture, which means textureless. Okay, there's no texture on it, which is bad. So all you need to do to fix that is encompass your entire map in a light grid volume. So all you need to do that is right-click. And we're going to go to, I believe it's, where is it? Is it in MISC? Info. I can't exactly remember where it is. You know what? We're just going to do it the hard way. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a brush, and I'm going to encompass my entire map in that brush. Okay. It doesn't need to be perfect, sorry, as long as it encompasses everywhere there's going to be a texture, basically. Okay. And make sure it goes above your map as well. Okay, wow, that looks stupid. Okay, so let's fix that because we don't want a checkerboard texture. We're going to go to textures and we're going to go to our friend tools, and we're going to scroll down until you see light grid volume. Okay, and what it's going to do, you can't see it from the inside, but from the outside, you'll see this tiling light grid volume pink kind of thing. That's perfect. That is what we want. I'm actually going to put it a little bit lower. But yeah, that should fix all the texture issues and your problems or any light problems you are having. So yep, that's all we need to do for that. That's literally all we needed to do. And now we're going to add a playable area. Okay guys, sorry about that. I just had to pause the video. But now we're going to go ahead and add the playable area. So all we need to do this is go ahead and... I don't think there is actually a right click for the... Actually, yes there is. What am I doing? You go to trigger and go to multiple. Okay, this is what we're going to use. Some people use info volume. Some people use different things. I use a trigger multiple. Okay, that's what I recommend you guys use as well. So what we're going to do is this is going to be our playable area. Now, this cannot be done like the light grid volume. So let's say I wanted... Okay, so I want Powerups to spawn in here and in here. I cannot just go like this. Okay, so just kind of encompass them both. And especially in this map, okay, because look at this barrier and look at where it ends, okay? That means any zombies killed within this area would drop a power-up. But if the player killed the zombie, like let's say the player was right here outside the barrier and dropped like a max ammo, the player would not be able to get that because by definition this is not the playable area. The player cannot access this area, not without cheating at least. So that is the problem. So we need to make sure that this only encompasses where the player will be able to pick up the perk, the power-up. And that is why it is, by definition, called the playable area, because that is the area that the player is able to access, okay? So what we're going to do is just set that to your room, okay? Make it pretty good, okay? Make it so that it encompasses just the playable area, not outside of that, okay? Now we're going to, first I'm going to make this go a little bit, okay, it is a little bit taller. I recommend making it go a little bit taller than your map, like that's a little bit overkill. I'm going to bring it down a little bit. The only reason I say that is that you can select it, okay? Because it's going to be hard to select your trigger through your light grid volume and your volumes for your zones and whatever. Just make it go a little bit higher, okay? Unless you're having flying zombies through your map, which would be actually pretty cool. Yeah, unless you have flying zombies, it's not going to be a problem. Just make it go as high as you want. That way you can actually select it, okay? So first we're going to enter in a KVP, if we can bring it up, trigger multiple. First we're going to put, well actually we only have one KVP to put in here actually. Target name and playable underscore area. It's really that simple. Now, if you have read online tutorials, or listened to some other YouTubers in fact, you might have heard that you cannot place multiple playable areas and you have to cut the brush. So you'd have to extend it over here and then cut it and do all that. That's false. Okay, it is true that you can only have one playable area KVP. It's not like zoning. But, okay, we've just set this. Okay, so we've just set the KVP in this brush. I can just go ahead and copy this over for this area over here because we can't have it going outside the map. Okay, we can't have it going over there, but we can have it like this. Okay, so we have a playable area over here, we have a playable area over here, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, we can copy that. That is not a problem. And see how we have like a cross shape? We don't have hold on, let me just fix that for a second. We don't have one big box that's encompassing, which would be a problem. We have like a T shape, which is exactly the shape of the map. And if we go ahead and run this, which we will in just a second, we shouldn't run into any problems. As long as I have the same KVP, which is target name playable area, we shouldn't have a problem. Okay, you can copy and paste the brush. These like text guides that are saying that you can't have multiple ones, I think it's misinterpreted a lot. Okay, we can copy and paste and kind of move around with it, okay? I don't know what that is, and it's getting deleted. Okay, so now let's go ahead and test our map, and all of the things should work, so the zombies should spawn in. We should have... oh, what did I do there? We should have zombies coming into our map because of the Pathnodes. We should have power-ups spawning now. Yeah, so let's go ahead and test our map. Okay, so we have compiled, and we are now ready to go. One thing I did miss in the video, which I will show you guys now, I forgot to say you will need to build your mod. Okay, so just select your mod here and make sure build mod.ff and build IWD is selected, and do build it because we did do a little bit of scripting. And make sure that your maps are all checked off in here, okay? Because you added a file being your map name, it's probably not going to be checked off. So just make sure you check it off and then build the mod. Okay. So now that that's over with and out of the way, we can go ahead and test our beautiful map. So to do so, we'll just go to the console and type it in like we did before. And okay, there we go. So let's see how our map turned out. So as you can see, we only have 500 points. That's perfect. We don't want any more than 500 points. But now I'm going to have to build up some points to be able to open up that debris. But yeah, now that we've added Pathnodes, so our points are well, and look at that, our zombies come to our window. They're not just standing there like idiots anymore. They're coming to our window, they're going to pull it down, they're going to come into our map, and they are going to actually try to kill me this time. But I'm not going to let that happen. Well, at least I don't think I am. Not on round 1, at least, I hope. Let's see if we can get a power-up, just to display that the power-ups do, in fact, work. Well, apparently not yet. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and open up this debris as well. And, yeah, so now the zombies over here should be spawning, and they should come over as well. I've also added the Pathnodes over there, so they should be coming in as well. Yeah, I'm not going to go through the whole playthrough. I'm not going to open up, like, turn on the power and get the Juggernog and all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to show you guys, hopefully, that the power-ups do work. We should get one, like, not too long from now. I mean, it's only around 2. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Almost got myself caught in, whoa! Where did you go? Oh, they're coming through here now, too. I forgot about that little window. And still no power-ups. Are you kidding me? There we go. There's a power-up. So as you can see, the power-ups do work. And it even spawned over here, not just in the start room, showing that our little trigger multiple did work. And you don't, in fact, have to just cut the brush. You can actually copy and paste, and it'll work just fine. There won't be any problems. Okay, so you can actually do that. You're not going to run into any... Ooh, nice gun. But yeah. So there's our map all compiled. So as you can see, we have everything all nice and finished. The points are fine. The zombies are coming into our map. We have power-ups spawning, and everything is working out nicely. In the next video, we will be compiling and packaging our map so we can send it to other people, upload it to websites. We will be using an installer to do this, just because it'll make our lives easier. And we don't have to make any... I've seen a few comments asking, you don't have to do anything to make this map playable on multiplayer. We don't have to add any other scripts or anything. We just have to make sure we package it properly and send it to them. And once we do that, we will be able to play with other people as long as they have our map. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, please leave a like below. Comment any questions or comments you guys may have on the video if you had any problems. And subscribe if you're feeling nice and happy today. And yeah. If you guys want this map, I guess I can send it, but this is, yeah, the map turned out nicely. This isn't the end of the series, however. The next one where we'll be packaging our map isn't the end. After that, actually, we're not going to be packaging next. We're going to be doing a custom load screen and stuff so it looks nice and pretty. But that won't be the end after we compile. We are going to do some other stuff after that, like custom material, like custom textures, custom models, and some other cool stuff we're going to do after that. It is not the end just yet, so don't worry about that. And I will see you guys in the next tutorial where we will be doing a custom load screen. And I'll see you guys then.